GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where we consolidate all your tabs from your browser into one clean 20-minute show. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we're asking a few questions. Are NFT floor prices ever coming back? Are they just down bad forever? Will we see an NFT comeback in this cycle? And is there any opportunities in NFTs to invest? Most are down. Everyone listening is probably not doing it, but I'll tell you one person who is watching, and that is Zeneca, who's back with us again this week, and whose NFT portfolio is worth over 15 million in the last bull cycle. So he knows a few things about the NFT game. Before we jump in, just want to take 1 minute to hear from our sponsor who made this show possible. Shout out to CoinGecko. Every crypto project needs reliable on-chain data. At Milk Road, we trust CoinGecko API for dependable crypto prices for you. And it's not just us. CoinGecko API supplies thousands of crypto projects with comprehensive data, including prices, market trends, NFT data, and on-chain DEX data. Best part, its integration and developer resources make it easy to set up. Friends of the Milkman, guess what? You get a free trial right now. Visit coingecko.com/API and use code MilkRoadTrial today. All right, Zen, let's start with a little bit of context here. In 2021, the NFT bull cycle, when it all went crazy, we were seeing weekly volumes above 1 billion on the regular. Was not unusual. Now, fast forward to today, through most of 2023, we were lucky to see 50 million in weekly volumes. Now, because of ordinals, we jumped up and we're getting up to 200 million in weekly NFT volume, but still nothing compared to the bull cycle. What happened? Where are we at? Is it all dead forever?
Yeah, I mean, obviously 2021 was a speculative bubble, to rival the tulip mania bubble of the 16 or 1700s. It was absolutely absurd, manic. I think even during 2021, those of us in the thick of it trading, we all knew the bubble was going to pop. We knew we were in a crazy bubble. We knew prices were going to come crashing down. It was a matter of when, not if. And obviously, at a certain point, it did crash, and it kept continuing to crash, and prices kept bleeding across the board. Attention moved on, and that's basically where we are now. Like we're over 3 years on since sort of like NFTs really took hold in 2021, and prices have largely bled down to zero in a lot of cases. And down 90 to 95% in the vast majority of other cases. The ones that have survived, they're still down 90%. And the real question now is, do they come back? Which ones come back? Will number go up again? Will floor price go up? Are there investment opportunities for people? And I've been thinking about it a lot. I came up through NFTs. That was sort of where I cut my teeth, where I got into this space. And even I find it difficult to get excited about NFTs too much these days. All these projects that are still around from 2021, they're doing stuff. They post announcements. It's like, it's cool, but it doesn't bring that same energy as it used to. And then that's definitely like a market-wide sentiment. People are skittish. People are not thrilled about NFTs. But I think it's a mistake to just outright dismiss them, because there are still a ton of teams building cool shit. There are still the fundamental use cases of NFTs as like art, as on-chain provenance for non-fungible token. Like there's a lot of value to it. And I think that there will be another point in this cycle, as well as just many points in the future, where prices go up again. And the difficulty is trying to pick which ones and where to allocate your time and money and not spend way too much time on it. And I've been thinking about it a bit lately, and I have some thoughts we can dig into there.
If you think NFTs are coming back this cycle, is that because you believe that there is a speculative euphoria stage of the cycle coming, and you think NFTs is a narrative or a meta that will catch that? Or is there something else? Break down why you think that'll happen.
It's basically exactly that. You said the magic word there, meta. We've seen in the crypto space that the meta narrative will shift from one thing to another, to another, to another. It might be gaming, it might be AI tokens, it might be real world assets, it might be meme coins, and it might be NFTs. And all the majors, like sometimes Bitcoin is the meta and ETH is the meta. It kind of feels like actually right now, the majors are like the meta. Most people, including myself, thinking about getting back to the majors. But if you look at the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, there's always these cycles and narratives emerge, and the attention will go into one thing. The last time we saw that with NFTs was sort of late 2023, early 2024, when it seemed like it was like this airdrop meta. And then, Pudgy Penguins were getting allocations for a whole bunch of tokens. Sappy Seals started getting allocations. Milady's, Bored Apes got some. And everyone was like, oh, wow, maybe this is like another use case for NFTs where projects looking to airdrop tokens can just airdrop them to existing communities that have existed for a few years, have shown that they've stuck around, they're active in the space. And the space took that narrative, ran with it. NFT floor prices, 3, 4, 5, 6x across the board for like the major projects, not absolutely everything. And then things, attention moved on. Meme coins took hold. Pump.fun came along, and everyone moved on, and prices crashed. There will be another, I'm very confident, there will be another meta narrative that includes NFTs. I don't know if it'll be airdrops again. It could be gaming. I think gaming is one to watch because there are a lot of NFT projects building in the gaming space right now. And that sort of overlap between gaming and crypto and NFTs, I think there's something special there that at some point will capture the attention of the space. AI is another big one. If there's NFT projects doing things with AI, then the AI NFT narrative will probably take off at some point. And as soon as there is a narrative, speculation just runs wild. That's our space in a nutshell. That's why price goes up for your favorite meme coin. That's why price goes up for your favorite gaming token, your favorite altcoin, your L2, even your majors. It's all like, the ETF narrative around ETH, or is there going to be a Solana ETF is why, maybe Solana prices might be going up. My whole thesis is keep an eye out and look for when the next narrative is going to set its sights on NFTs in one way or another. And then I have like a watch list of maybe a couple dozen projects that I'm keeping an eye on, and then, might look to buy and flip during that sort of cycle.
And I want to get into your watch list in a sec. Quick question. What sort of return do you think is possible to achieve when this next meta happens?
Yeah, I think that sort of like a 3 to 5x on quite a few different projects is quite reasonable and achievable. Even just looking at like historical prices, or like prices of the last sort of little mini bull, late 2023, early 2024, to where they are now, a lot of projects are down 80, 90% just in the last 6 to 9 months. I think it's not unrealistic to see a project that was at 1.5 ETH or 1.8 ETH. Let's use Sappy Seals as an example. At the start of this year, that's now at like 0.4 or something like that. It could easily get back over at 1 ETH, 1.5 ETH, which is 2 to 5x right there. And so like that's kind of the range I'm looking for. I don't think this is the area to be focused on if you're looking for a 10x, 100x. That's where meme coins shine. But if you're looking to try and make some, I don't want to say easy, but like lower risk flips, if the narrative does shift to NFTs, there are probably some relatively easy 2, 3, 4x's out there.
Okay, let's get to your watch list in just a sec. But first, I just want to go back to something you said, which was I appreciate that you mentioned that gaming and AI were the narratives within NFTs that you think could take off. Because when you mentioned Sappy Seals, you're talking about PFP projects, although Sappy Seals is more than a PFP project now. But do you think that PFP projects come back, existing ones, any of them, or do you think there's new PFP projects, or do you think it's going to be gaming, it's going to be AI, it's going to be these other categories?
So the interesting thing about most of the PFP projects that I think will come back and flourish, they're PFP projects that are also doing gaming or some element of gaming. Sappy Seals, they're building a game. Parallel Avatars are building a game. Forgotten Runes Wizards Club building a game. Bored Apes, now they're building games. Pudgy Penguins, they're building a whole Pudgy world. It's a gamified experience. So like, I think those projects also realize this is where the attention and money and future might be. And so they pivoted into that direction. There's a couple that aren't building games that I think will survive. CryptoPunks being by far the most notable example, that they simply just need to exist, and they have that collectability, that provenance, that history, that culture that can maintain a store of value. And maybe there's one or two others that can do that. But by and large, the ones that are PFPs that I think will survive are the ones that are also tied to something else, like gaming, for instance.
When do you think this will happen? Any idea?
That's the $1 million question.
Ball, but like, break down if you put it into the context of the rest of this cycle, which you believe is, everyone's saying anywhere between 6 to 18 months. Where's your take on that?
Yeah, I would say that's about right. I would say like 6 to 12 months now. I think, 6 to 18 months was a few months ago. Now, like I don't think we go into 2026. I think end of 2025 is probably pushing it. And in terms of when it's going to happen, it's so hard to tell. I'm not even trying to pick or guess or imagine. It could happen next week. It could not. It could happen till the end of the cycle. It could not happen. But I do feel confident it will happen this cycle. And because I have almost no idea when it's going to happen, my strategy when I think about this is it's evolved over time. And now I think about opportunity cost a lot. Like I might think, oh, there's a bunch of NFTs at point 0.2 or point 0.3 ETH. That will probably do a 3x sometime in the next, couple of years. But you have to think about the opportunity cost of, if I just stuck that money in Sol, maybe Sol's going to do a 2 or 3x in that time frame. And so instead, and with NFTs, you buy it, you hold it, and the money is just sitting there doing nothing, and you need to wait for it to go up in price before you can extract or sell and get some money out. You can't sell like half an NFT, which is one of the difficult things about NFTs. So my strategy is just like keep an eye out for when I start to sense the market turning, and I might miss out on some of those really early gains. Like something might go from, I'll use Sappy Seals again, point 0.4 to 0.6 before I realize, oh, maybe there's a narrative forming here. Maybe I want to buy in. But then it goes to 1.5 ETH. So I might capture the bulk of it, but not all of it. And I'm okay missing out on a bit of those early gains just to stay liquid, to not miss out on, some other gains in some other areas, because who knows if it happens in a couple of months or in a year from now or even later than that.
Okay, let's get to your watch list. What's on your watch list?
Yeah, so I mentioned a bunch of them already. It is largely the projects that are tied to gaming specifically. So you've got Forgotten Runes Wizards Cult. I think they're just coming out with their open beta for they have an MMORPG style game. It's actually awesome, fun. I've played it. It's really cool, which is again ahead of 99% of Web3 games that aren't fun or interesting. Parallel, they have these avatars which are used for they have a trading card game, and they're also building an AI game which is merging
their
gaming
AI
and
game
AI
is
and
crazy.
NFTs.
It's crazy.
Insane.
Game.
You have these agents that are gaming themselves. It's mind blowing.
That make money for
Yes.
you. You can train an AI agent who would make you money in a game through NFTs. It's wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
That's what I'm super excited about, because they're forming a new genre of gaming, and if they pull it off, then it's absolutely monumental. Sappy Seals, Pudgy Penguins. I think they both fall into the category of cute PFPs that are doing some gamified gaming things as well, that have like a cultish following online, and have importantly stepped out of the crypto space. Like Pudgy Penguins were just at Comic-Con. I think it was Comic-Con, and they had like a massive presence there. And most people that didn't even know anything about crypto, or that they were tied to crypto, they just seen the cute penguins on Instagram, or someone they knew had a plushie toy at their house, and they're becoming a household name brand, which is huge. And then like little Pudgies, so like the associated NFTs in their ecosystem. Bored Apes and Punks are worth keeping an eye on. Punks, I think, have that historical longevity that will always hold value. Bored Apes, they're in this really precarious state now where they've burnt so many bridges over the last couple of years, like doing missteps, and they brought in a CEO who didn't really do that much and became a giant corporation, and the game got very complicated and confusing. And now it's like Gaga is back at the helm. He needs to like pull a rabbit out of a hat. If he can pull it off, then I think they have a lot of room to run. But I'm a little less bullish on them than, say, Punks or some other projects.
Bored Apes is like the hot girl in high school, just peaked so early.
That's a great analogy. And just like always just trying to get back to that. So hopefully they come back. But yeah, I think you just have to keep an eye on them, because so much of the space is keeping an eye on them. Miladies are an interesting one. They've sort of captured this counterculture, grunge, alternative side to the crypto space that is kind of separate to the rest of the NFT market that came up in 2021. Worth keeping an eye on. Chimpers is another one that's sort of in that cute PFP, pixel art, gamified gaming category. It didn't quite reach the same level of like notoriety of Pudgy Penguins or Sappy Seals, but they've got a big Instagram following, a lot of gifs floating around. People are bullish on them. That's just off the top of my head, like what's on my watch list. There's obviously going to be a handful of others, but for me, and one big thing I didn't mention, Massive Astro, is anything art related. I think art is like another separate category, and there will be an art meta for NFTs. But I think the way I look at art now is on like a decade time horizon. I look at it over a much longer period, because I think that it's harder for people to speculate in the short term on pure art, because art has collectability value, it has artistic value, it has all these other stores of value, has provenance. But you don't have the whole, oh, are they going to airdrop tokens to this? Or is the team going to do this? Are they going to partner with Disney? All these narratives that people latch onto to pump a floor price in the immediate term doesn't really exist for art as much, which can make it more stable, but I think it's a longer term investment. There's a lot of art I'm very bullish on, Xcopy, Chromie Squiggles, certain other generative art projects. But I look at it from a much longer time horizon. And so when we're talking about, 6 to 12 months flipping 2, 3, 4, 5x, not too much in the art world that I'm looking at for that. Yeah. So that's a bunch of them.
If you're sitting there and you're thinking like, okay, the meta right now is the majors. Maybe that might mean it's time to shift out of the majors, or the meta's just beginning. It's always hard to know where we're at, right? But if you think that the majors are going to do so well over the same time period, like why go and do it in NFTs when it's less liquid and it's like you said, you can't sell fractions of it. It's a whole NFT, which some of these projects get quite expensive. You're spending thousands of dollars on one investment. What do you, is it because you love NFTs and that's your attachment to it? Or do you think there's a noticeable difference for an investment?
To me, it comes down to the whole almost like hubris thing. Can you outtrade the market? And I think that most people can't, and they shouldn't even try. Like 95 to 99% of people will be better simply just holding the majors. But I bet most people listening to this, most people that tune into the space every day, think that they can outperform the market. I think there's some crazy stat where it's like 70% of people think that they can outperform the market, but only 2% of them can. Something like that, which is just humanity, right? So my advice to almost everyone is just stick to the majors. But if you think that's boring, if you think that, you want bigger gains than that, that's when you look at meme coins. That's when you look at altcoins. And that's when you look at NFTs as a way to, yes, maybe Bitcoin does a 2.5x from here to the end of 2025. Maybe Sol does a 5x. And honestly, that's probably what most people should just be doing, holding those. But if you think, oh, by keeping an eye on NFTs, and if I sense a narrative, I can make a 3x in 6 weeks, and then flip that and put that money back into Bitcoin or put that into stablecoins or Sol. That's the kind of reason you might be looking to flip NFTs from an investment perspective. It's the same with meme coins. If you think, oh, I'm going to buy a meme coin, it's going to do a 50x, and then I take some profits and put it back into Bitcoin or back into Sol, I'm going to outperform the market and just beat the market, outpace the market that way. It's all about timing, right? Like, I think almost no one would say that WIF is going to outperform Bitcoin over a 25-year time horizon. No one is going to say that, just pick almost anything is going to outperform Bitcoin, ETH, or Sol over a 25-year time horizon or a 10-year time horizon. You're betting that you can outperform the market on a 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 6-month time horizon, and then take those profits and either take it out of crypto, put it in stable coins, or stack more of the majors. And so that's the reason to get into NFTs from an investment perspective. It is another option to try and, like, another section of the market to try and flip and trade and outcompete meme coins, altcoins, NFTs, L2s. There's a bunch of different ones now, and it's just another area. And yeah, that's it. I don't recommend people at all get into the trading, flipping, trying to outperform the market game. But if you're already there and you're spending 10 hours a day,
but you're going to do it. So exactly.
Yeah. If you're going to do it,
if you're listening to this and you're there, because we know you are,
be smart about it.
Yeah.
It's totally fine to do as well. If you have, like, I think we've spoken about it before, 80% of your portfolio can be in the majors, and then you have 10 to 20%, 80, 90% of the majors, 10, 20%, you can show like your gambling money, or, you're going to be a little more high risk, aggressive with it. Great. Go for it. Just be smart about it.
Let me summarize here. You've done a great job today, Zen, of a investment bull case on NFTs. I'm now starting to think like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I might buy some NFTs again. There will be another NFT cycle within this cycle. There'll be an NFT meta and an NFT narrative within this cycle. Okay, that's the first belief in this bull case for NFTs. Number two is there is certain projects that are well set up. They have massive communities, they have great IP, and they're in gaming. And that's key. If you compare that to the other opportunities to get the even larger returns, which is like the 10 to 100x, that's meme coins. You're probably much harder to do. It's hard to pick the meme coins. There's so many, is so much of a narrative happening right now. And NFTs, you probably only have like 10 or 12 that are even worth considering, right? So like narrower, that's nice. Okay. And then it's going to be short. Like the time frame on this is probably we don't know, 1 week, 2 month time frame when you could get considerable returns that are 3 to 5x higher, that are just higher than the majors would be at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And from a flipping trading investment perspective, it's a compelling reason to keep an eye on the space. And that's why I recommend, a lot of people just dismiss NFTs outright. And it's true. Most people lose money on NFTs. And if you buy and hold for long term, then you get married to your bags, you're going to lose money on them as well. But if you're purely looking at it from an investment perspective, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And it's just like, there's so many ways to make money in this space, and just cutting off an entire avenue. Like, we didn't even talk about ordinals either. That's a whole, it's NFTs on Bitcoin. There's Node Monkeys. There's a bunch of cool projects over on ordinals that I think are also worth paying attention to. And sometimes like ordinals pump, but like NFTs on ETH or Solana or another chain don't. And so there's like little meta narratives, and it's all about how much time do you have to invest in this space, and how much work are you willing to do, and what opportunities are you looking to find. If you only have 3 hours a week to put in a crypto, just stick to the majors. If you're, 19 years old and have the high risk tolerance and all the time in the world, and you have 20 hours a day to put in, or let's say 16 because you're sleeping 8 hours a day like you should be, go nuts. Like, just try and get all the water out of the rocks, and just like find these opportunities, because they're out there. They're everywhere. You just have to go looking for them.
I love how you can't help, be Zeneca dad every now and then, and remind us all to get our 8 hours of sleep. Thanks.
Yeah,
No, it's great. I love it. Awesome. How do we keep everybody up to date on this? Because here's the big question that comes out of this is, okay, I buy in Zen. I'm listening to this. I want to try to hit this, but I don't have the time to know when the NFT meta is happening. So I'm going to listen to you on the Milk Road show every Thursday, because I know you're going to be there. What do? We do an NFT meta check-in every week now, and you give us, a thumb.
Yeah, we can do that. Just a quick thumbs up, thumbs down where we're at. Yeah, just by nature of who I follow on Twitter, and just like who I know in this space. I'm just, even when I'm not paying much attention to crypto, I still know how the NFT market is doing, because it just pops up on my Twitter feed all the time. My portfolio, I still have a large amount of NFTs and everything. So I feel like I have a good pulse on the space, and can sense when maybe the narrative might be shifting. We've been just like trading water going down for a very long time now. So it might be for the next few weeks, few months, there's just not much interesting happening. But if there is, I'll make sure to tell people on here. And I recommend, keep an eye out on like floor prices yourself. And like, if you see things going up, it takes 5 minutes to make a little watch list for yourself, and then just check it in once a day. It takes a minute, 2 minutes a day. Once you start seeing floor prices go, be like, maybe there's something going on here. Look into it some more, see if there's a narrative forming, and maybe that's when you want to buy in. And again, you might miss those super early gains, but if the narrative lasts a few weeks or a month, which they tend to do, there's a lot of opportunity there to get in and get out and make some nice money.
I want to know if any of our listeners, are you investing in NFTs? What are you thinking? Did you like this show? Because we want to know, should we talk more about NFT investment opportunities, or are you guys like, nah, not what I'm looking for? Because this show is all about you. So let us know in the comments. Also, hit a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, none of this is financial advice. Investing in crypto or NFTs is risky, and you should only invest in what you can afford to lose. If you want to help us grow, you want to help the Milk Road Show grow, we'd really appreciate it. Leave us a 5-star review, a review on Apple, on Spotify, subscribe to The Daily Show on YouTube, wherever you're listening. Make sure you stay up to date with us. See you next time. Have a wicked awesome day.